Come in, Juliet. Yes, come in.
We're not going to bite you.
Come in.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to our meeting. Have we got any apologies?
I'm not a member of the... Mayor Tracy, please, Pat. Sorry, I haven't done this protocol before. I do apologise. Apology for Mayor Tracy, she can't make it this morning.
So we'll move that apology be accepted.
Yeah.
Against? Yeah. So could we have a second first, I suppose? Thanks, Rob. Thank you. Public forum, we should have Chris on.
Presentation of public forum. I'll let him in there.
Have we got Chris online for?
This is just coming in there.
Are you there, Chris?
I am. Good morning.
Can
you hear me okay?
Yeah, good. Let's go. Can everybody else hear?
Fantastic.
Okay, yeah. We're going to talk about flag tracks.
Yeah, fantastic. No problem at all. That's my I'm a subject matter expert.
That's the way. That's the way. Can you tell us what we're going to have to need to get some flags up on our main street?
So typically the installations of flag tracks that I've done and been involved in around the country, and we've now got about 5,600 systems out around from pretty much the top of the North Island to the bottom of the south. The furthest south being Riverton. But look, we typically are replacing existing banner arms that are already on a lamppost. So if I remember rightly, last time I drove through Dannevirke, you've got an outreach arm, which is mounted on a number of the lampposts already. Those outreach arms would be removed and replaced with flag tracks. Those outreach arms that you've got currently are only accessible by using heavy lifting trucks or effectively a bucket truck. And that bucket truck needs to be located on the roadside generally, unless there's available space in the car parking areas. And that can tend to cause potential issues with traffic disruption, etc., and also additional costs to the community board for changing flags.
Right. What about getting permits like the NZTA? Do we have to do that? Power company, those sort of things.
It's certainly generally the poles that we're working that we're using are managed by the local councils themselves or the lines company, and potentially NZTA. I know that with the work that we've done with Woodville. We are working through with NZTA at the moment. They're doing an assessment on the light poles that they have in Woodville, and then we're sort of partway through that process. We've provided a lot of detail to them, and I understand they're dealing directly with the community board. And at this stage, we haven't heard anything back from them as yet. But it's a standard process that we would expect to go through, and that whoever owns the poles would like to just make sure that whatever we put on the poles is not going to cause any additional load or any additional issues. A little bit like, I suppose, with the LED Christmas frames that you put up on your lampposts over Christmas. I'm not sure whether they were approved by NZTA, but generally that's a process that you'd need to go through.
Your construction arms that go up, do you put them up or do
we have because we've got installations right around the country. We've got extensive installation instructions, and generally there will be an external contractor that the community board or the council would get to come in and install the flag tracks, and that would be we would be seeing that as the last time that they would need to use any sort of lifting equipment to get to the pole. But we also have installers that are based in Wellington that I've used for doing a number of the jobs that we have completed here, and they have provided a price to do an installation for Woodville, and there would be no issues with them. I believe providing a similar pricing to yourselves to install the flag tracks in Dannevirke. So we could provide an installer and provide an installation price to you.
So the biggest thing is what sort of money are we looking at here for that?
Yeah, exactly. So,
Per each, I should say.
pardon?
Per each.
Yeah, so you're looking at around approximately $1,000 per pole to install a flag tracks. And then we would just need to get an understanding of what the costs associated with traffic management might be around that. But it also relates to the quantity of locations that you might like to do as well. So I can go back and have a look at the proposal that I put forward through and I'll pull that up now while I've got you here, and I can tell you exactly what we quoted through to Woodville. Where are we? So their quote was 765 or 26 flag tracks at $765 each. And then the installation, which was 210 per track, plus traffic management. So ultimately, the 26 poles are costing them, including freight and packaging, $34,400. So if I 34,408 divided by 26. So it's about where are we? It's about $1,300, I think, including traffic management to have each one installed. Yeah, about $1,323 per track system installed.
And the flags on top of that.
Yes, yeah, and the flags, we provided a price for flags. We don't, I license 7 flag companies around the country to manufacture flag tracks flags, and they're licensed to manufacture and supply direct to our clients. And that enables any users of flag tracks to have choice around pricing, etc. And typically, those manufacturers will have slight differences in the way that they do things, etc. And effectively, that's just the way the flag market is. But they're licensed to manufacture the flags to the specifications that we provide to ensure that they fit the tracks and that they meet an appropriate level of standard. So you are able to go and talk to those flag companies, and depending on the quantities of flags that you're looking at and the type of imagery that you want to have on them, that will have an impact on price. But the estimate that I gave Woodville was $98 a flag. And that's an approximate price per flag.
Okay. You haven't got a photo of anything, do you? Have you?
Oh, of a flag or a?
No, of the arm that goes up.
Oh, I have actually. What I've done is what I'll do is I'll just pull up my photos, and I'll expand this up here, and I can share my screen. Can you all see the screen there now?
Yeah.
So this is an example of an installation that we did in Greytown, and so you can see the flag tracks here on the face of the pole. We mounted the flag tracks on the back of the pole, which is on what we call the footpath side of the pole.
Yeah.
And the reason for that is that there is quite an angle on the side of the road here. And you can see the cars are sort of at an angle, and potentially the poles, and you can see the poles have been marked by trucks and bits and pieces. So that's the reason why we mounted the tracks on the back of the poles in Greytown. If I come out of here, where are we? If I can reduce that, I can show you some other images. Where are we? This is an installation that we did in Porirua, and this is the Mayor of Porirua putting one of the flags up herself. And you can see the flag tracks is mounted on both sides of the poles, so you can actually fly 2 flags on the same pole if you'd like. This is Upper Hutt with the flag track, so you can see our banner arm here. So if I look at this image here, our banner arm would replace the banner arm that you have on the pole, and our aluminium track runs down the face of the pole down to an access point, which is about 2.5 meters above the ground, and that's how we remove we unlock the track system and pull what we call a push-pull rod out of the track, which brings the flag down. We thread a new flag onto the rod and then just insert it in. It takes about 35 seconds to change a flag, as opposed to having to have a bucket truck, etc., and hanging a flag up there and having to get access to this upper section of the pole. I've also got an example, a small sample here of how the flag tracks works, and I can show you that. If I stop sharing the screen, I can show you how the track works if you're interested in looking at that.
Yeah, okay, yep.
Or would you like to, do you have any questions though relating to the images?
I'll ask the board if they've got any questions.
Yes.
Yeah, Terry.
Yeah, thank you, Chris. Could you tell us what the durability and the longevity of these flags is, and any maintenance required?
Okay, so great question. Durability of a flag is an interesting question, and that gets asked whether you're flying a standard street flag or a flag tracks flag. If you see the flag tracks flags here, we don't hem the outside of the flag. The flag is what they call heat cut. And the things that affect the longevity of the flag are weather conditions, the exposure to weather, wind, and also UV. So if there's a significant amount of UV, the flag will slowly fade and the ink will fade on the flag. And that's standard on all flags. If you've got, I would expect that if you're changing your flags out regularly, you would expect to get 6 to 9 months of life out of a flag. So it's not like putting a fixed banner in the sky. So you would expect that you would get a reasonable length of time. What happens with our flags is that they're as I say, they're heat sealed around the edge here. And this edge, as you can imagine, would be the edge that moves and moves significantly in the wind. And so these edges will abrade. And so over time, this flag will get thinner from this corner back towards the centre of the flag. And this area will abrade away over time. And that's as the flag gets older. But that's the length of a flag, the life of a flag tracks flag is typically slightly longer than a standard street flag. And again, that is it's hard to quantify exactly how long. So I'll give you an example. We're doing some work at the moment for fielding, and fielding are looking at getting 6 sets of flags, and they'll be changing those flags out every 2 months. And the expectation is that they would get probably 4 to 5 cycles out of those flags themselves. So they might be up for December, January, and they would expect to get 4 cycles of December, January usage out of those flags.
Thanks, Chris.
Did that answer your question?
Yeah, thank you, Chris. Yeah, no, that's really good.
No,
thank you.
No problem.
Any other questions? No?
Okay, well, what I'll do is I'll just come back out of here and I'll just stop sharing my screen so that you have to see my ugly mug again. Can you see me okay?
Yep.
Excellent. So there's a few things that relate that are specific to a flag tracks flag. So as you can see, the flag has what we call a top clip sewn to it. It has what we call slider tape, which is attached to the flag, and this is what the manufacturer supplies. and they have what they call a bottom clip, which is attached to the flag. To make sure I get this in the right way, so you can see me. So this is the flag. So this is what you'd be removing and installing each time you wanted to change. Then we have the aluminium infrastructure. So this is the track, effectively, which has a bottom section, and that's the section that I said stops at about 2.5 meters above the ground. We have a tensioner on the face of the track, which allows the bottom clip of the flag to catch onto it. And then we've got the curved section at the top, which would go out, and this goes out about 1.04 meters out from the face of the lamppost, which allows us to fly the face of the flag. The other element that goes inside that track is what we call a push-pull rod. So this is the rod, the plastic rod that goes up and gets inserted inside the system. So for somebody to change a flag, they remove the push-pull rod out of the track. So they use a key. I've got a key tucked on the bottom here. So this is one of our flag track's keys, and so that gets inserted into the bottom of the rod, which has a locking cap on the end of it, and that allows us to pull the rod out. Then the installer would come up and they would just effectively thread the flag onto the push-pull rod, which has a hollow section. But there's 17 of these clips that they've just got to slide onto the rod. Once they're on, they clip the top clip into position, and that locks into place. And then they come up to the infrastructure, which is up on the lamppost, and they insert the rod into the bottom of that, and it allows the flag to go up the track. Just push it all the way up to the top. The bottom clip catches on the tensioner, and that allows the flag to effectively set, and that's how it gets installed. So literally the length of time that it took me to do that is the length of time that it would take you to change your flag on the main street. And you can do it from the footpath, the safety of the footpath, as opposed to having to use a bucket truck. So that's the track infrastructure itself. And as you can see, this is just a little sample flag that we've put together that I carry around the country.
Yeah, Terry.
Sorry, one further question, Chris.
No problem at all.
Does that $1,300 cost or thereabouts, does that include the design and printing of the individual flags?
No, it doesn't. So you'd need to, so the $98 that I quoted per flag, depending on the quantities of flags that you're ordering, you could talk to the flag manufacturer, and they generally have designers that can put designs together for you for flags. And as you can see in these images, if I share these images again, you'll be able to see the different designs and styles that their clients have decided to use. That's an example of a standard street flag which has got caught in the wind, and that's what happens is that this piece breaks away and the flag just flaps around, and ultimately that can't happen with a Flag Tracks flag with it being attached. If you can see my cursor all the way around the face of the flag. So just to answer your question, the flag manufacturers will have designers that can put these designs together. We've got lots and lots of examples of designs, and depending on whether you've got an Easter show or you've got a Anzac Day, I've just put a whole lot of Anzac flags up for our clients in Lower Hutt, Upper Hutt, and in Kapiti. And so they've just bought. They've got different styles of Anzac flags that they have flown over the Anzac period, and then we'll remove those. And the next key event, I think, from a council perspective, is Matariki, which will happen in a month or so's time after that, and they'll pop Matariki flags up. So these are this flag here is a Masterton flag. They're in Masterton. On the entrance to a roundabout in Masterton.
Good. Thank you, Chris.
No problem at all. I'll just flick down. So we've got systems here in Picton as well. So they've been mounted on the poles on the main street down in Picton. And again, just some examples of flags in Upper Hutt and other locations.
We've got one more question here.
Yes, yeah, no problem.
Yeah, thanks, Chris. A question about installing the infrastructure is
Yes.
how are they attached to the poles? Just bolted clamps?
So as an example, and I might be able to show you, am I still sharing my screen? If I show you here, this one's probably the easiest to show you. If you can see the track is strapped onto the pole. We have we use the standard bandit strapping, which is the strapping that's used to strap street blade signs and other signs onto the lamppost. So there's no impact to the face of the pole. And the idea is that we put single straps on the vertical section of the track itself, and then what we do is double over 19mm bandit strapping on the upper sections to ensure that they're nice and strong, because generally with the wind loading with any of these, whether it be a flag tracks or a standard track system, a standard banner system, this is where the load would go on, the torsional load would go. So we make sure that they're well strapped and that there's no way that they could potentially move under wind conditions, etc.
So it's not really a specialised install. Anybody that can work in a bucket truck that's got any kind of engineering ability would have the ability to put them up. Is that right?
Yep, you've hit the nail on the head. Look, honestly, we, as I say, because the vast majority of our installations happen in remote and locations where I'm not, we have extensive installation instructions. We've got videos on how to install the systems and guides, so that somebody who has access to a bucket truck and has those skills could easily put flag tracks up. So there'd be no problem with you using a local installer or somebody who has that equipment available. And I'd be more than happy to pop up. I mean, I'm based in Wellington, so I'd be more than happy to pop up and provide some on-hand guidance as well. I suppose you probably, if you've been up to Hawke's Bay, we've got a number of installations up in the Hawke's Bay as well. I think we've got about 700 systems up there, and that's across Hastings and Napier. So you will probably be able to see, if you've been up that way, you'll be able to see flag tracks in operation up there.
Well, thanks, Chris. Thanks for your time coming through for us, and
no problem at all. No problem at all. Thank you very much for listening to me.
I hope that we get back to you. Okay, thanks very much.
Thanks, everybody. And look, if you do have any more questions, you've got my email there. Please don't hesitate to give me a call. I'll leave you to the rest of your meeting.
Thank you. Cheers.
All the best. Bye bye. Cheerio.
Bye. We'll talk about that later. Right, we'll go presentation from Terry. If you'd like to do that.
Yeah, thank you, Chairman Pat. Juliet, would you like to come forward? Come to the... Right, thanks, Mr. Chairman. It's my pleasure to introduce Juliet van der Oord. Juliet is part of the Ormonville Rail Preservation Group, and as you know, that we did talk about very briefly about a proposed project for the Ormonville Viaduct viewing platform at our last meeting, or maybe out of the meeting as well. So this project has changed a little bit to what it was proposed originally, and both Ernie and myself have been out to Ormonville to view this project, and we've come up with some other alternative suggestions that how we may work it. And in the meantime, Juliet and her team, namely Paul Marnie from Whanganui, have been working on it and have put together a presentation for us today. So I'm just going to hand over to Juliet to let us know what the Preservation Group are proposing in the near future. Juliet.
There we go. Yes, so Terry has very kindly introduced me. My name is Juliet van der Oord. I do note that Paul Money has spelt my name incorrectly. Van der Oord actually has 2 O's, and I apologise about that. Perhaps just a little bit about me, and I know this is not about me, but I came to the Dannevirke community in 1983 as a newly minted barrister and solicitor. And I had the opportunity to work for 3 years with the team at Lloyd Dodson and Gartrell. Ernie Gartrell, as some of you will know, he was the mayor at the time, and he wasn't in the office very often, and I was there to sort of help assist with various things and clients. Anyway, during that time I met my husband, Klaus van der Oord, and some of you, will have known Klaus. Klaus and I got married, and I went to live out at the Ormondville district, and it will have been 40 years this year that I have now lived out there, and I'm very passionate about all of our community here, and anyway, so that's just a little bit about me. So early on in my, relationship with Klaus, he said, we've got this wonderful viaduct in Ormondville, and I'm going to take you and show you that viaduct. And I would just like to, just ask you, I mean, I know some of you, Terry has seen the Ormondville viaduct, and Ernie, because you were at the site meeting, but have any of you others seen the viaduct? Do you know? Well, when the viaduct was built during the late 1800s, when the railway line was going through, it actually was the biggest wooden viaduct in the southern hemisphere. So it is actually, initially it was a very impressive structure that was built out of totara from the forest, and of course in the early 1900s it was replaced with the structure that is there today. So very few people actually do know about this incredible structure, and it's really quite difficult to actually see it at the moment, because it's all really the viewing area which we hope to be able to develop with the community's support, will enable actually a magnificent view of the site, or the viaduct. So look, I have a handout here for you, which I'd like to give to each of you, which has got the sort of the proposal of what we would like to do to show off this wonderful asset that we have in the district. Now, we also have a little plan here that Mr. Harold prepared, sort of just the detail of, the sort of viewing board that we hope Hamish Wilson will prepare for us, like a wonderful monument that's been put out in Gary, similar sort of concept for those of you that have seen that. So look, I've just covered a little bit of the history there. What would you like me to do? Would you like me just to speak to this document, or would you like to just have a bit of a look at it, take a few moments to have a look at it, and then perhaps you can ask questions? Yes, the highlights. Well, yes, I mean, you know, the broader area, of course, is Norsewood, Ormondville, Wherekura, Makuraku. You know, we have this wonderful historic area out there with all sorts of different tangents to it. But in terms of Ormondville, of course, I'm sure you're all aware that you know, the railway station has been preserved, and that's an ongoing work in progress. So I am, as Terry mentioned, a member of the Ormondville Rail Preservation Group. And really, the Ormondville Railway Station is probably one of the finest examples of a New Zealand railway station of that era. And Ormondville Railway Station was not just a station, but it was a prime area for stock loading, and of course all the stock transportation to the meatworks in those days, because they weren't freezing works, went by train. And of course, you know, there's been a number of projects that some of you might have been aware of restoration of various pieces of equipment down there, and that's all ongoing. The Ormondville Railway Station has, it's set up as self-catering accommodation. So, and I think as noted here, there's probably around about 3,000 visitors to the area to see the railway station, and you know, often, well, Kenny Smythe, who I'm sure many of you know, he grew up in Ormondville. His mother was the postmistress there. Anyway, Kenny lives the closest to the viaduct, and he just fields, you know, people pulling up in cars all the time, sort of saying, "Oh, could you tell us where this Ormondville viaduct is?" And of course, you know, when there's people at the railway station or having working bees, of course, you know, that's a common question too. You know, where is this Ormondville viaduct? Does it actually exist? So perhaps you know, you can see from the photos there. There's the wooden structure as it was built, and you can see, you know, quite a significant structure for, you know, the 1880s. Above that photo there, it's around about 1962. That 11 carriages being hauled by that steam train, and so, you know, that is it. And of course, you know, some of these recent photos that we have here, you will see that, you know, the wilding pines are obstructing the view, and of course, as those trees, if they're allowed to continue to grow, they will continue to obstruct the view, and of course, they're not good to have, you know, by the steel girders. You can see there that the actual sort of where we would like to put this viewing area is really all covered in scrub. That is just that on that corner there, and I think you can know the photo that I'm talking about. It's car parking and walk on Verge. So it's actually just along from the former Ormondville Primary School. And so there's already existing car parking that it was, you know, construction for Ormondville School. So what we're proposing is that, you know, people park their cars in the existing parking, they walk along this grass verge, and the viewpoint is what we consider to be, you know, the highest viewpoint, which is just, you know, off the edge of the road. And we think that it would, you know, just provide a wonderful area. And of course, we're all aware that, you know, we're going to have thousands of people coming over here when this magnificent highway opens, and people are going to want to sort of see other things in our community, our wonderful Norwegian and Danish and Swedish heritage, and the railway station, and then the viaduct, So I'm very passionate about this. I always have been, and really how we got this project underway was we had a registered surveyor who just happened to be doing a bit of work at our place, and I just happened to mention it to him, and he said to me, well, would you like me to pop down and, just have a look and see where it might all happen? And so he was Stephen Oldfield. He's a registered surveyor. He's based over in Fielding, but he, of course, is all around the districts, and he sort of unearthed that, of course, Carr Street is this enormous highway, a lot of it's paper road, but, Ormonville actually was going to be sort of, the railway capital of New Zealand, and I actually think that it is. 7 steam trains, not steam trains, were 1 or 2, but the 7 goods trains that, go across the viaduct every day. I've raved on, and I'm sorry, but I am passionate about it, and I've got lots of other people on board too, and well, we hope that you see some merit in
Is
this.
that, you've had Ernie and you've had Terry out there. What, you come to the community board, did you just want to let us know what was happening, or were you looking for?
Yes, I understand from Terry that, I have to get an official application form, and I believe those are available at the service centre desk, and we will very quickly fill that out, because I understand that this current round of funding is going to be closed as at the 28th of April, so I think that's about a week. I think
The
you
contestable fund, are you?
Pardon me?
You're looking for the contestable fund,
Are
money,
you?
or from the
Well, I
community
think that
board?
we would actually probably put an application in for both. I understand from talking to Her Worship the Mayor that there is also a heritage. She mentioned a heritage fund, but whether that's part of the contestable fund, I haven't actually established yet. I know that you have very limited, funding available, and everybody would like it. But look, this really is a project. You'll see there that we've given estimates, but for a bit of digger work and some gravel and things, we've estimated around about 5, but it probably with community support to be a lot less than that. In the interpretation panel, we've estimated around about 4,000. And that's the similar sort of panel that you've got out at Glengarry. Probably the biggest cost there, of course, are the direction signs. We've proposed 6 because, all roads do lead to Ormonville. A picnic table, or, some business perhaps might be able to donate that. And of course, the pine tree removal, there probably will be a bit of cost in that, and we will be able to make approach to Kiwi Rail, and I understand Terry's spoken with
Perhaps Terry's got a question there. You might.
Jamie Kendrick. Just anything that you might be prepared to, give towards the project. Really, I mean, can I ask? Do you think that there's any merit in this?
Can I just make just a couple of observations, Mr. Chairman, through you? Is that the main object of the exercise today is to inform the board and council of exactly what is being proposed. I mean, this is a great little project to develop. It's a relatively small viewing platform on Roding Reserve, so council will need to give its blessing or its approval for that. And during the process, we have spoken with Rick Morris. Rick is the corridor manager for council, and also we've been consulting with Kate Payne from planning. So those people have been informed. You now know what this project is all about and exactly what is proposed down the track. It's not a very big project. The actual platform itself is probably going to be relatively inexpensive in the grand scheme of things. And as Juliet has informed us that, you know, it is a great little area. There is no parking, there are no real restrictions on it. So, and it's a road which is very little used at the moment. So that's what it's all about. It is to inform the board and council about what is proposed out at Ormondville to develop this small viewing platform for the Ormondville Viaduct. And I think we just now need to take that on board and talk to the people that need to give that authority for us to proceed, or for the, not for us, but for the Rail Preservation Society to proceed with this little project. And that's where we're at the moment.
Erin?
Thank you, Pat. Juliet, can I just ask, have you got, is this private land, or is this all council?
No, if we go to this plan that the surveyor very kindly prepared, right on the back, you will see there, if you just sort of take a moment to just, you know, familiarise yourself with it. Terrace Road comes in, if you're coming from town, you would go past the railway station, over the railway lines, and you would probably turn right. And that road there, it goes past the old post office, there's a children's playground, then the old school, and opposite the old school is this sort of corner area. So we've got Terrace Road, and you can see that Terrace Road, you know, that's only a small portion of it. Terrace Road is an incredibly wide road, and then it goes around the corner, and then that becomes Carr Street. And you can see from that plan that Carr Street is the actual sort of road construction of Carr Street is actually quite narrow, but it actually isn't narrow. But, you know, there's this enormous paper road. So there's no private land involved. It's all
I do know the area down by the school there. I just see in the
Yes.
plan there's a below view, and then you're thinking about getting rid of the
Right.
trees. Are they on private
so-
land, and have you got the support?
Okay, so as
Thanks.
far as the this lower view goes, that is sort of what we kind of initially kind of looked at. But, you know, when Terry came out and Paul Marnie and myself, and we sort of walked all around, we actually came to the conclusion that the appropriate best viewing area, because of its higher elevation, was actually just there, sort of on the side of the road. And that's where, you know, the majority of people, that's where they see the viaduct from. I mean, you've got to sort of kind of poke your way through the scrub a bit, which is what, you know, we'd want to clear. As far as the Wilding Pines go, they're actually all on, you know, Transrail land. So Paul Marnie, who is the president of the Ormondville Rail Preservation Group and has just retired from a long career with DOC and Heritage, he's got, you know, really good relationships with Kiwi Rail, and so he's happy to approach them. But I understand that, you know, Terry has also spoken with Jamie Kendrick, and Jamie has sort of offered to assist. So, you know, we just sort of assist in the getting them down. So with just the sort of, just the Kiwi number 8 wire thing. I believe that, we can make this all happen really sort of simply and quickly. We get the scrub cutters out, we get a small little scraper digger, and just very sort of a bit of gravel, which hopefully we'll be able to get from, the gravel pit up McLeod Road, and it'll all just happen. And because, well, we can make it happen, but we have to get, permission. We can't sort of go doing it on council land without formal approval.
Yeah, well, I visited the site with Terry, and I think the excavation and the installation of the platform area, if it's only going to be a lime state, and the railing and the fencing, is a day's work for a good team. To me, it's not a big project. I believe the biggest hassle is going to be getting rid of the mature trees, not just the wilding trees. It's a big established old man pines that have been there forever. I think the community of Ormondville have a lot of experienced firewood merchants, tree fellers.
Yes.
Yeah, I think just get permission from the railways and get on with it.
Kenny Smythe is he's a woodsman.
He's the man.
He's a firewood business, and it will all happen. But of course, we can't sort of pop down there at night and bowl them without permission. But look, we can make it happen, and I think you'll be quite excited if we get to the ribbon cutting stage. It really is quite something. I know we talk about these big bridges that we're all going to see very soon, and I think you've all seen them, but this is also, something else. And a lot of people have kids that love railways and Thomas the Tank Engine and all the rest of it. I think this is a wonderful opportunity to just, show our stuff as a community.
Well, thanks for coming in. And
Thank you.
she's given us a lowdown of what you want to try and do.
Yeah.
So thank you very much for.
No, look, you're welcome, and thank you for giving me the time on behalf of the Ormondville community, because I'm a member of the Ormondville Hall and Domain Board as well, and we're that organisation is all on board with it too. We're all on board. We just need to be able to leave the station, so to speak.
Thank you, Juliet.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay.
Okay.
Right, we'll move on. Where are we up to now? Any conflicts of interest? Nothing? Really? No. Someone moved that the minutes of the last meeting be a true and correct record, please. Thank you. Ernie, seconder. Oh, two there. Which one shall I take? Ron. Thank you. All those in favour, please say aye. Yeah. Against? Carried. Right. Tauranga District Council reports. We've got two. Sorry.
This is an observation on page 19 of the report from the Tauranga District Council for the 26th of March. Item number 10, portfolio reports. I just want to sort of make comment about the Horizons Passenger Transport Committee. In actual fact, Dannevirke gets a reasonable amount of money from this fund for funding the Dannevirke community vehicle or vehicles. So now it is my understanding that it comes out of that fund, as I say, and it's a serious amount of money to ensure that the Dannevirke Community Vehicle Trust runs. So that's probably not strictly correct, but it may need to be checked up on whether the money has come from that fund. So just a point of observation for there, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Terry. Right. Someone move those be accepted. Do I have a mover for those, please?
Yeah.
Thank you. Seconder? Ron, thank you. All those in favour, please say aye. Any queries again? Forgot to go back to number 5. Item's not on the agenda. Did anybody have anything to put up? Any?
For the presentation on the recycling from Kate, that I think we all attended one at different places. And also, second item is the WACRO Awards. And third item is the flagpole on the town hall.
Anyone else? Okay. Move Terry, second is Aaron. Oh, Ron, sorry.
Questions?
Question?
Questions on the draft annual plan. Maybe I could aim this at Erina. Sources of funding. I see that the sources of funding for 24 to 34, there's 46%. 46% is rates, and then there's 43% is from other revenues. Is that correct? And if so, where does that come from? Where are the other sources for revenue?
That would be like NZTA,
Right.
because it fees and charges
Okay.
and any sort of funding we really get.
Okay.
Yeah, outside of rates, yeah.
Outside of rates. Is it, so is the Gabriel funding? Is that part of that?
Gabriel fund, it was, yeah, but
It was, but it's no longer.
There's not a lot left there.
Okay.
Like some, yeah. So that's that's 2024 to 34. So yeah, there will be some Gabriel funding in that.
And what with on this plan, page 35, Erina, the animal management, the increase in costs there. Can somebody explain where the extra costs for animal management are coming from?
That one would have to look into. Do you know, Carter?
Through you, Mr. Chair, I'll have to get information from the regulatory team for that. Thank you.
Ernie?
On page 33, we've got a item 7.91. We've got personnel increases of 400 and something thousand. Well, every other budget's been chopped. I'm a little bit concerned about how we can have increases of 2.5% when everything else is being slashed. It's just, an explanation would be great. And also on page 35, with regards to transportation, the footpath and roading budgets, obviously there's not enough money in the budget for those either.
Through you, Mr. Chair, I will try and get information about the additional costs for the animal expenses, related expenses, and we'll get information about the increase in personnel and justification for the increase in personnel costs. Thank you.
All right, move on. Update on the rates rebate direct debit area. So I move that report be accepted, please. Thank you. Seconder? Aaron, thank you. All those in favour, please say aye. Against, carry. Against? One noted, please.
Can I ask a question, Mr. Chairman? Page 40 of that report. Are the affected households, 68 of which at the moment, are they evenly spread across Tararua? That's my first question.
I think you might. Have you got a? I can remember. Would you have it?
Through you, Mr. Chair, I don't have the exact. Again, I'll have to go back to the revenue team and get you the information.
And my second question, obviously there are some issues here in getting people to respond to council's requests. I just put the question, can it not be put in place that people that have not responded default to put their rates, postpone their rates until their properties are sold? Is that not a possibility? Councillor Irina?
I definitely think that, that's a good idea, and whether legally we're allowed to do that, I'm not too sure.
That's why I asked the question.
Yeah, that would be something we'd have to look into, and that hasn't actually been brought up, but it seems like a good solution. Yeah.
Because if people are not responding, they're obviously getting legal advice or whatever in the initial future. We should be looking at going to a default in that area and not requesting people to repay, but to put them default until the properties are sold in the.
And that's what happens with rates anyway. When a property is sold and there's money owed on the house.
True.
That transaction happens then. So, yeah, I mean, there's all different situations. People are getting legal advice. People just don't reply, or they don't. Yeah, and so that it would be something. That's a good idea, and I'll bring that up and find out more about that. Thanks, Terry.
Yeah, Ron?
Through you, the chair. Personally, this is my own thing about this. The rate debacle. Is there any insurance that it's never going to happen again? Because I've still got elderly people and young people. I know it's got to be done, but they all talk about well-being. Well, there's people out there that are definitely suffering from this. So what I'm asking the council is the progress on making sure this never ever happens again. Do we know that this will never happen again? Can anyone tell us that?
You can never promise something like that, Ron, but there are definitely checks in place and extra staff are being brought in to help with this situation so it doesn't happen again. But you can't guarantee something like that.
Right.
You can only put in everything that you, all the checks and double checks to make sure it doesn't happen again. And not all of us would hope it wouldn't happen again.
And saying that, Erina, Councillor Erina, you yourself are very confident as a councillor that you can feel assured that we can tell the people this will never go down this track again. Is that the feeling you're getting from what they've done and put in place?
I'm quite confident with what's been done in the rates area and the extra staffing they've put in, and the process has been really good. Yeah.
Well, that's good to get that insurance so we can tell the people that don't worry, it's never going to happen again.
You can't say never, Ron.
Right.
And I won't
But,
say
yeah.
that. Yeah.
Again, that's my personal opinion, but
Yeah, I'm on the same side as you, Ron. I don't think that we can assure the people that it'll happen again, because my own personal situation was I missed a quarterly payment, and next minute I'm getting a debt collection letter. So if that's the way we're going to treat our ratepayers, it's not a good feeling, especially for these old people. I've got family that were affected by this rates debacle, and I'm getting it in the ear all the time, and I'm saying, well, you know, I can't send a bill out to somebody from a job that I forgot to charge 5 years ago. So it's pretty hard to explain to them and give them the assurance that it's not going to happen.
Erina?
Because of the extra staffing they've had to use in the rates department, they have brought in an outside company to help with rates arrears or missed payments, and exactly what's happened to you with you, because they haven't had the staff to do it, so they've got this company come in to chase people up, which helps this error from not happening again because it doesn't get missed. I mean, unfortunately, it's not as personable as probably would like it to be, if is that the impression I'm getting?
Yeah.
But that all helps in getting the arrears paid.
It's actually the same with all businesses, though. They, you know, like if there's overdue accounts, they'll get someone in to get them for you. So it's on a bigger scale. That's the only thing. Yeah. Any more questions on that? No. We've done that, haven't we? We've moved there. Application of funding. With this application of funding, we're going to have to sort it out that we've only got so much money to give away, so we need to do it by when?
All money had to be paid out by the end of June, otherwise it's not
The end of June. So we've got one here. What's in that one?
I've got 3 applications.
Oh, the RSA. The bowling club. Yep. Erina?
Sorry, can I just ask, do we need to have a plan sort of, you know, like going forward with the flag tracks? What are we going to do there before we go handing out the rest of our money? I'm just thinking about that. And one other thing with the flag track, sorry, I'm going a little bit off. Are we able to apply to the contestable fund as well, Carter?
That's what we should be doing.
Yep. Okay, that's cool. Cool, thank you.
If we need a motion for this Anzac one, I'd like to think that we could support it to the tune of $500 like we've done in the past.
Yeah, I'll see for that.
Let's just get on with it.
All those in favour, please say aye. Sorry.
I just have another question. I looked last night. Carter, you might be able to answer. So I was thinking we haven't got that much money to give to the bowling club, and if we were even to give them like $500, that they wouldn't be able. Is it true that wouldn't be able to go and apply to the contestable fund for the rest because they've already got money from council? I just don't want to cause them a disadvantage of us giving them a little bit and then they can't go to the contestable. Thank you.
Through you, Mr. Chair. So when they fill out the application for the contestable fund, they'll be able to disclose how much money they received from other sources. And what we will fund through the contestable fund is pretty much their shortfall. So they will need to declare all the expenses, any money they received towards the project or the events, and whatever the shortfall is what they will request normally through the contestable fund. So that's fine if they got $500 from, as an example, but if the whole project costs $1,000, then the shortfall might be $500, which they can apply for through the contestable fund. So that's fine. Yeah.
Thank you, Kata. I just wasn't too sure if they're allowed to apply to council twice in a year. So that's what, but they can. That's the answer. Yeah, thank you.
Well, I'd like to move that we support the bowling club. It's a very large part of the community. And even though our budget's been chopped in half, we need to spread it around, not just pick on one or two big projects. So I'd like to think we could give the bowling club $500 as well.
Do we have a move, Ernie, a second?
Yep.
$500. All those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Against? Carried.
What's the next one? Oh, Alzheimer's.
Mr. Chairman, this is a really important group and they play a really important part within Tararua because they have people coming to Dannevirke every Thursday morning for a session here at the band rooms, and I think they play a really important role and do lots of good work. I'd like to move that we also give them $500.
I'll second that.
Moved by Terry, second by Ron. Looking for $500. All those in favour, please say aye.
Yep.
Against? Carried.
We still got 11 grand left.
Management report. Someone move that management report be accepted. Sorry? Yes, yeah. Page 93. Someone move that be accepted. Yep. Seconder. Ron, thank you. Those in favour, please say aye. Against? Carried. Discussions?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Page 135, 11.54, sludge management of the ponds. And I see an upgrade is due in 2027. And I just want to know, is this particular area going to impact on the proposed solar farms for this area? Can somebody answer that question?
Through you, Mr. Chair. I'll have to get the information from you from the team.
Because there's little point in establishing solar farms in that area if they're going to need to be cleaned.
I totally agree with you, Terry. I think that putting a solar farm on top of a shit pond is defeating the purpose of the anaerobic and all the rest of it operation of the pond. I think that how are we supposed to desludge it when it's got a liner in the bottom?
Any other questions on that? Someone move the portfolio report be accepted. Yeah, Terry? Ron? Second. All those in favour, please say aye. Against, carried. Very right, those. Right, move on. Right, move on to the reports. Terry?
Right, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Reporting on the Chamber of Commerce, the After 5 event at the Lions Den just recently was an extremely successful event where Chamber members were able to come along to the Lions shop and experience exactly what happens and where the funds go that are raised at the shop. It was really interesting because the whole event had been videoed by one of the Chamber members and put online, and it was interesting. At one point there was over 8,000 hits on that particular site or sites. So a great promotion for both the Lions here in Dannevirke and also for the Chamber of Commerce. The next event for the Chamber of Commerce will be a breakfast meeting at the bowling club, where Steve Carley, who is the owner-operator of the Bush Telegraph, will be talking and giving an update on where we're at with the Bush Telegraph and how he's progressing with rebirthing it, I guess. We're also working, that is on the 30th of April, by the way, that event. So it's a breakfast meeting. So if you would like to go, you need to advise the Secretary of the Chamber for that meeting. Right, we're also working on doing a promotion for promoting Dannevirke as a destination through the Chamber, particularly as we keep hearing about the opening of the new road, and hopefully we're going to get lots more people coming to Dannevirke. So a promotion or a promotion in that area, promoting our town as a destination to visit. The Dannevirke Community Vehicle Trust, I think I mentioned at the last meeting, we're celebrating 10 years of service to the community. The celebration will be held at the Hub on the 15th of May at 3 o'clock. It's quite interesting to observe that over the years that we have been operating, we've seen a steady increase in the numbers of passengers which have used the vehicles transporting people around our village. In 2016, the Trust had 21 drivers and completed 650 trips for the year. In 2025, we've still got over 20 drivers on our books, and we've completed for, at the end of this year, 2025, 3,310 trips, taking people around town. So really good news. So remember that one, keep that on your diary. The celebration, if you'd let me know, the 15th of May at 3 o'clock. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Ron?
Just to report on the brass band, they're all getting ready for the Anzac Day, the service they give to the community, starting at the Dawn Parade, going through to the Civic one, and then going out to Norsewood to do a parade there, and then also going to Witakura and, of course, Makuriku. They've been doing this, as you know, for a very long time, and I've been informed they're all ready to go. And have a look at the side drummer at Norsewood, you might recognise him. But besides that, they've told me they've got 10 learners on board, the spirit is high, and everything's going along well. Thank you.
Probably a time to bring up the wreath laying for the Anzac. Will you be available for them, Ron and Terry?
Yes.
You'll do those the wreath laying. Are yet to find out when you'll let us know when the wreaths are ready or what time we're going?
Everyone will be in contact.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, can I ask Board Member Ron, is there anything to report on the news of the Closure of the Dannevirke Information Centre.
No.
That was a good answer. Anyway, well done.
Mr. Chairman, I did go and ask for a report, but there isn't one.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, I was just saying, going back to the Anzac, I'll be at the early one, so I'll drop the wreath off, or one of you can take it. All right.
I haven't got a report this time round, but I should, because as I've been away, but I will have, there has been some developments, but once I get up to speed, I'll bring them back to the next meeting.
Mr Chairman, through you to Erina, do we have the plan? I mean, we met with those people towards the end of last year to discuss the plans, or they were discussing plans for the domain.
Yeah, like I said.
Do you have that plan yet?
We haven't got a full plan, but we're still being held up with the engineer's report, but they've done something temporary, and once we've discussed it in our committee, then I'll bring maybe not the plan, because it'll just be still in process, but I'll bring an update to the next community board meeting.
Thanks, Erina.
Ernie?
Last week, and we had a very intensive meeting because they had to rewrite the Constitution. Took about 2.5 hours, page by page by page. It's all a very efficient committee that they run, and it was all done and dusted and sent to the lawyers the next day. So, yep, it's a very efficient operation at the moment, and they're excited about the next show.
Any news down there, you know, what they're doing? I know the sports club is, don't use it as much now, so nothing there?
No, not really. No, there was nothing brought up in the meeting. There was no correspondence from the sports club, and the monthly meetings in the upstairs room above the sports club. So, yeah, there was no bad news anywhere.
Road safety, I happened to go out to the new Herbertville Inn the other day, and I went out on Highway 52, and I was very surprised at what the last time I went out there was just after Gabriel, and man, they've done a real good job out there. The barriers are up and everything like that. I asked a lot of the local, because it was a good place to get to the locals out there, and it was they wrapped with the roads. So that was all good. It's good stuff. Right, where are we up to? Correspondence. I've got the letter for the railway line fence. So come back to there. Can someone move that correspondence be accepted?
I'll second.
Yeah, thank you. I'll second. All those in favour, please say aye.
What are they telling us? There's nothing going to happen?
Well, they're coming back to us by the looks of it, don't they? And
Surely,
not doing anything there at the moment.
surely we as the local council need to make sure it's safe and at least have some temporary fencing replaced. Like, look at the extent.
It looks like I've had temporary fencing by the photo there, doesn't it?
Yeah, well, it's been there, but look at the extent the months and months we spent on Victoria Avenue, putting up cones and all the rest of it. Surely there can be some decent barricades put up.
Right, discussion on update on discussion items. There they are. Do we need to accept that one?
Just be for discussion.
There for discussions. Any questions? Ron?
Yeah, discussion. So, how's the speed indicator for Smith Street going? Do we know anything about it? It's updated? Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
What's happening with Otonga Street and Ruahine Street then? Oh, okay.
Item's not on the agenda there. So I'm going to bring up the first one about the, when we talked about the discuss about the flags. Flags, mainly that's what I want to know, whether we're interested in doing it and putting it.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I think it's a great project. It's a great way that various organisations at various times of the year can, promote events going on. I guess, I have to sort of say that I'm probably a little concerned at the initial costs and whether we can raise that fund to put the flags up through the contestable fund. I think we need to probably have a further meeting to discuss, how many and what we're going to be looking at, and how we can manage it.
The contestable fund finishes in a week's, the 30th of April, so we can't get into it if we leave it, or otherwise we'll have to do it before then. So to go next year.
I think it's a good, yes, it is a big cost, but in the long run and for the future of High Street, I think it's going to be, reasonable, $90-something each group can fundraise. They might not want to buy, say if it was 26, they might not want to buy 26 flags, but they might buy 10 and still have a good effect and put them up at $90-something each. And if you're looking, traffic management costs are only going to go up, looking in the future. And the other thing with the flags, how long they last, if you're looking at Christmas, we probably only have them up for 6 weeks, 2 months, if you had Christmas flags. So they're going to last about 3 years before we have to replace them again. So I think for the future, even though it's a big cost initially, it's going to save us money in the long run.
I think that for the future, the community board might pay for the Christmas ones, but we could get businesses in town to do their own ones, so change them around. So,
Yeah, I totally support the whole concept of the infrastructure. I think it's from an ongoing point of view. And the cost of traffic management every time the Christmas lights go up, it's, total no-brainer. And I think locals can obviously, after watching Chris's presentation, I think it's not going to be that difficult to install the infrastructure. It's just a matter of whether we should be applying to the contestable fund first, because our funds have been chopped so hard. So I think our community board needs to get on with this application to the contestable fund now.
Yeah, we haven't got we've got to do it before the end of the month. Yeah. That's what I reckon.
Chairman Pat, totally agree. It's a no-brainer. We need to move on this immediately, really, because, it does give an opportunity for other people to put their flags up. And once the facility's there, people will use it. There's no doubt about it. Admittedly, though, the first time around, I think, was I right in hearing that there would be no road management costs, but obviously that's after the fact of getting the initial ones up, I take it. Yeah, the infrastructure. So as Erin has said, we've got to move on this pretty quick, and I'm sure we'll get the support. And as a community board, it's a great thing to be involved with. Cheers. Thank you.
And I think from a financial point of view, if we apply to the contestable fund, if we've got some money left over before at the end of our financial year, that we whack some more into it as well, with the funding, that the small amount that we've got. But we need to be make an application.
I think we've got 26 poles out there too. We don't need to do the 26, you know, that's going from right through. Do we need to do it? Do we? Or do we? So, I think that, well, we've got the contestable fund there, we might as well use it. And we need someone that's good on the computer. Terry, do you know how to work a computer?
Don't you have a secretary for that you take all your stuff to get drawn up?
Can we get someone to do it?
No, not Ellie.
Can we get someone to do it?
Through you, Mr. Chair, we can help. We can help you through the application. We can do that. What I would suggest really, if you can get a quote from Chris, I'm pretty sure he'll be able to do one very quickly, and you can do one for the 26th. Just do the whole quote and attach it to. We can help you attach it to the application, and then comes the decision time. You can decide whether the council will decide whether to grant you the full amount or half the amount or whatever they decide. But I think just get a quote from Chris for the 26th for the whole lot, and yeah.
So we might as well go for the lot.
More than happy to help you through the application. Yeah.
All right, thanks. Yeah, got someone. That was a good one. Right, recycling.
I think we all went to that presentation by Wasted Kate, however we can describe it, as a consultant. I went to the Woodville event. There were 7 people in the room, and I'm sure 2 of them were council staff members, so the actual number of public wasn't that well supported at 7 o'clock at night. I was, overwhelmed with how we need to stop using plastic water bottles and we need to stop using coffee cups. That was the message that Kate gave the meeting in Woodville, and let alone the tea and coffee was in disposable coffee cups, and there were bottles of water being given away, exactly the same bottles. So I was, a little bit confused about the lecture we were getting, and where the cardboard and the plastic ends up going, and the percentage of contaminated recycling is really concerning, actually. I don't know what you other 3 got from the meetings that you went to.
I just, I'd like to endorse what Ernie has just said, Mr. Chairman. It was a really good presentation. It's just a shame that it wasn't supported by a lot more residents, ratepayers within Tararua. As you know, you, myself, and one other went to Paia tour, and we had a great insight into recycling and rubbish collection as a whole. Yeah, good stuff.
Yeah, it was not only what we learned was the tops, the main thing that I got out of it, the tops, the lids and everything, which I thought was recycling, but they weren't, so.
Yeah, totally. With the tops and everything, that means it goes straight to the rubbish because no one's taken the top off it. So, yeah, I think the education part of it, and I said in Woodville to Kate, why isn't some of this presentation coming to our community board meetings so it can be seen? If we're going to be live streamed, it would have been a bigger catchment of people potentially than doing it the way they've done it with the meetings. I don't know what the attendance numbers were like to the meetings that you went to, but I was quite disappointed at the number turnout. And then we find out that cardboard boxes and everything that have had food in them, you can't recycle, when she's telling us to put them in your fireplace and burn them. So do we all get a burning drum, or what do we do?
Fair enough.
I thought it was quite interesting, and she was a really interesting presenter. Like, it really made recycling, like, you wanted to listen because she was such a good presenter. And that was actually really, that was advertised months prior. I'm not too sure why we didn't get the people, but it was really interesting. The couple of things, I think people don't realise you really need to clean your recycling before you put it in, because one bad, dirty bottle in a whole bin full makes the whole bin go to rubbish. And it shows in our statistics every month that we get through the infrastructure meeting how much gets dumped, recycling gets dumped because someone hasn't cleaned their recycling. So I think for the public, they need to be cleaning their recycling. That's really important. And cardboard, especially pizza boxes and stuff that gets dirty, those ones are... Another thing I picked up, she told us about compostable bags. They're a waste of time. That's, yeah, so I didn't actually realise that. And you spend the extra because you think you're doing good by buying these compostable bags, but they're no good. So I thought that was something else I got out of it as well.
Yeah. And also she was saying that the next phase might be food waste collection to be composted. And it's like, man, there's going to be some rats around then. It's quite concerning when you think that they're going to have a bin outside of every house to pick up food waste. And when it comes to composting, she said if you can't eat it, you can't compost it. So it was a little bit confusing.
It was a good present. She did a great job. Right, move on to Wackrow.
Yeah, I had some discussion with some of the high school teachers, and we're quite confident that there'll be enough numbers of coming in this time. It's going to be promoted at the high school as soon as the holidays are over. I've done my best to do the contact with them, so pretty sure.
Who were you talking to at the high school? Yeah?
No, I had a social gathering at a hotel with some off-duty teachers, and I said, look, we need to get this happening. We can't let the community down. So yeah, we've got a plan. Action's happening.
We've got the guest speaker. It's okay. She's okay to do it. So and I've got a couple, about 4, I think, close to it.
Yeah, I went, and through you, the chair, I went to the pipe band. They've definitely got a few there that are keen to put their name up. The brass band, definitely, and also the kaupapa. So it's quite positive on this time, and yeah, hopefully we get more than 3 applications, which will make it be able to be put on due to the rules of the actual Wackrow Award. Thank you.
It'll be good. Okay. Flagpole. Yeah. Flagpole.
Must have been 3 months ago. It was on our agenda about having access to put the flag up. Has it been done before Anzac? Oh, good. So yeah,
It's up, and the flag is out there this morning at the Prime Minister's request for the death of the Pope.
So it's operational
as
from
we
the
speak.
balcony. Well, that's very pleasing.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I send an update to everyone at the board, but your email address seems to be wrong on the website. So, okay, well, that's the only way I can contact and give everyone updates. And it seems to be you're the only one who's not getting my updates, I think. Yeah.
Do you get them all?
Yeah. Everyone else goes through, but for Ernie, it just bounces back. Mr. Chair, just an update on recruitment. So we have successfully recruited for Kimberley's replacement. So we have a new community engagement officer, and that's Sarah Fontaine, whom I believe you know. She does a recovery work. Maybe you haven't met her, but anyway, we've got a new person starting on the 28th of April, and she will be able to work with the board to get your community plans in place and work with the community boards. Thank you.
Thank you very much for coming, and yeah, catch up, and we'll carry on. just get the WACROs, get them to sign their forms is the main thing. So thank you.